It was early autumn when David returned. For the first time in more than 2 years. The air was sharp, scented with leaf turning, wood smoke, and the porch of our old Virginia house creaked under his weight exactly as it was before when he was 17 and rushed in following a squabble with his father. But David wasn't a teenager anymore. He was 26 now, leaner, more quiet with his father's and his mother's dark eyes' skeptical stare. When he hugged me, it was polite, distant. I had some insight. Remained broken. Thanks for having me, he said, slipping off his boots by the door. I don't need to be thanked, I replied, pointing in the direction of the kitchen. Your family? He hesitated before nodding. We both knew it wasn't quite that simple anymore. David's father. I had been married to Charles for almost 12 years. I entered David's life when he was just 14 years old and furious, with drawn children who are still grieving the death of his mother. I had put a lot of effort into those early years. I helped with homework, packed school lunches, took him to appointments with the doctor when Charles was too busy with his law practice. I never tried to be his mother, just someone he could depend on. It appeared for a while that like it was working. However, then things shifted. Charles became distant, cold, always at the office or worse in his phone texting God knows who. By the time Charles and I went to college, David left. We're hardly speaking. And by that point, David came back to visit the following. During the summer, I was working on something I never imagined I'd be capable of, an affair. It lasted 5 months. The male, Eli, was someone I met through a community art class. He was a little gentle, too interested at first, but persistent. We talked more than we touched, and while the affair did turn physical, what I remembered most was the feeling of being seen again and asked how I'm doing. Was that version of wanting to be me, the one who painted and laughed, who flirted with life again, was someone I hadn't known since before Charles and I married. I finished it. I told Eli it was a mistake, and it was. I confessed everything to Charles 3 weeks later, sobbing in our living room while he stood there stone-faced, silent. He went the next morning and never came back. The separation was bitter. Charles blamed me for everything. David stopped speaking to me altogether. And now, 2 years later, he was sitting in my kitchen. Again, older but still carrying that same coldness. I made us coffee. The silence had a heavier quality about it than normal. I wanted to say something, anything to demolish it. I produced the apple tart you used to like, I said gently, putting the plate in his face. He stared at it. You still make this? I do. He picked up the fork but didn't eat. His jaw clenched. I know why you asked me to come, he concluded. I took a look at him, surprised. You do. You want to apologize, confess, or explain. Whatever word makes it easier for you. His voice wasn't angry. It was tired. Tired in the way someone gets when they've been carrying around something far too long. I took a seat across from him. David, I do not wish to create excuses, but I want you to understand. I never wanted to hurt you or your father. Finally, he bit into the tart. He chewed slowly, swallowed, then looked at me. This still tastes like home, he said. I was changed in some way by that. I felt tears well up, but I held them back. I wasn't sure I had the right to cry. You were the one who made, it went on to say, this every year for my birthday. Thereafter, Mother died. I hated you at first. You no. I thought you were trying to replace her, but then you remembered my favorite dessert. You'd always bake 2, one for me and one to take to the shelter. And then I started to think, perhaps you weren't quite so bad. I grinned faintly. I was never told that by you. He shrugged. I didn't tell you a lot. We again sat in silence. This time around wasn't so heavy. I know what happened between you and Dad, he said after a moment. I'm referring to the deceit, the affair, he told me. I'm not proud of it. I said softly. It was a terrible choice.
Yeah, he said. It was.
I nodded, taking the hit. But what he didn't tell me, I had to figure this out on my own, that he was cheating too. I looked up, startled.
What? Yeah.
A woman was in Dad's DC long before your affair. I found the text one summer. I never said anything. I concluded that it was not my concern.
But
when he told me you ruined everything, when he asked me to cut you off, I guess, that's when I realized maybe both of you made mistakes. But only one of you ever apologized. The tears started to fall then. I apologized and wiped my face. Why didn't you say anything before?
Because I
intended to dislike you. It was easier then, recognizing that nothing was more complicated than I thought.
But now,
I don't know. I suppose I wanted to try the truth. See what it was like to sit here and not be angry anymore. I reached across the table and touched his hand. Thank you for returning. I'm not saying everything's fixed, he said. Nevertheless, this tart, this kitchen, this conversation, it's a start.
He
spent the weekend there. We didn't talk about the past much after that. We, instead, walked through the farmer's market.
He
helped me repaint the back fence.
We
laughed like we used to at a bad movie.
2.
He prepared breakfast on Sunday morning and set the table exactly as Charles instructed. Used to, only with more care. Before he left, he took another piece of tart for
the path. As he pulled out of the
driveway, he rolled down the window and called out, "Make another one next time." I frequent. Okay, I will. I also did. Because sometimes offering someone a taste the truth, your sorrow, and your growth, your humanity is the only way to rebuild what's been broken. It doesn't erase the past, but it can contribute to the something new, something better, something that tastes like home again.